A Redditor posted on the subreddit Internet Mysteries of a weird manifesto they'd come across. The manifesto, titled A Modest Disposal, was supposedly found on an audio tape in an NYC shop, purporting the idea of disabled people as pets. The Redditor, who's active in researching the troubled teen industry and the institutions that benefit from it, found a court document from 1979 titled The Abuse and Neglect of Children in Institutions. The document contains testimonies of the system's failures to protect abandoned, neglected, or disabled kids. Page 15 of the document is where a transcription of A Modest Disposal, written by Ruskin Goodenough and translated by Medora Rorik, begins. Medora states that the paper is a translation from a tape discovered on a dusty back corner of a shop in NYC. After extensive research, she discovered that the author Ruskin Goodenough migrated from Romania to the US to study psychology, and for many years worked as the founder and director of the Institute of Mental Myopics, dedicated to further researching the field of mental disabilities. She then goes on to state that he began training for veterinary medicine in South America in anticipation of the response to his proposal, which is where it was rumored that he died after eating their native dog soup. Ruskin begins the paper first by stating the problems faced by people placed in institutions for the mentally disabled, how inhumane and miserable it is on them, and the burden placed on the state's treasury. Ruskin then goes on by making a proposal, where instead of being a burden on their parents, mentally disabled children could contribute to the happiness of millions, themselves included. He proposes the following. Of the estimated 100,000 mentally disabled children born each year, 1/4 be reserved for breed, and the remaining be offered up for sale at the age of 1 or 2 years to persons of quality and fortune throughout the 50 states. Ruskin then goes on about the so-called advantages of his proposal by comparing the mentally disabled children to dogs as pets, stating things such as how they do not require special pet food and can just eat food scraps, or how their bites have no effect on man, among many other inhumane and disgusting comparisons and descriptions. Ruskin ends his proposal by saying that whoever does not like his proposal should ask the mentally disabled people themselves whether they would have preferred this over what they have gone through. It's extremely likely that Modest Disposal is actually satire, since the title seems to be a play on A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift, a satirical essay about using children as food. The author's backstory almost seems too comical to be true, and a search for both the author and translator brings up no relevant results. However, it seems that for some reason the person who found this took it seriously, which is why it ended up as part of the court document. While the tape's existence and the author and paper's origin remains a mystery, another Redditor found this. Dr. Phyllis Kaplan, who unlike the translator and author seems to be a real person, who's come across this piece because it was submitted to her by one of her students. Redditor Scanner Barkley posted on the subreddit Tip of My Joystick, looking for a game he'd been trying to find. An indie game where you're a man desperately looking through a mall to find your kid. The very end reveals you're actually a child looking for a kid you've been stalking. Scanner Barkley then goes on to give more details, including the platform, genre, and this synopsis of the game. The game was an RPG Maker indie game. You were a dad, an average-looking guy wearing glasses. You search places in a mall like an arcade, and have to slide machines around like blocks to pass through. You get increasingly frantic thoughts from Dad. Things like, where could he be? I just saw him. The very end shows you cornering a kid, and the camera pans menacingly as the dad smiles. The synopsis seemed like it could have been made up. However, another Redditor user, Pomchi Princess, confirmed the existence of the game, claiming that Patrick from Giant Bomb played this game on his Pukin with Scoops videos, a series where Patrick would play different indie horror games. The Redditors tried searching for the game by looking through Patrick's whole channel, which unfortunately turned up nothing. Scanner Barkley then contacted Patrick directly. He seemed to be clueless on what the game was, which brought the search to a dead end. User Pomchi Princess then replied, saying that they were almost certain it was him. However, the search still did not yield any results. Searches for other sources of the game also proved useless. 2 years following the initial post, user Scanner Barkley would post an update saying they finally found the game. It turns out, Patrick did play the game, but on the Giant Bomb channel under the title, Worth Jamming Asylum Jam. Asylum Jam is an event where individuals or groups would create a horror game in 48 hours, without negative mental health or medical stereotypes. The game, titled Arcade, turned out to be exactly as user Scanner Barkley described. Tilikum was a captive male orca who spent a majority of his life at SeaWorld in Orlando, Florida. He was the largest orca held in captivity. Tilikum was responsible for 3 of the total 4 fatal attacks by orcas in captivity. The most unusual of the 3 being that of Daniel P. Dukes. On the 6th of July 1999, Daniel had somehow bypassed security and snuck into Tilikum's tank. His body was discovered the following morning on the orca's back by one of the SeaWorld's employees. Due to the severity of the injuries, autopsy reporters could not properly identify the cause of death. What makes this case stranger is how Duke was able to escape surveillance and how he wasn't caught by any of the employees, whose main jobs involved performing wellness checks on Tilikum throughout the day. It's possible that footage of the incident exists, being captured by security cameras at SeaWorld. However, SeaWorlders refused to confirm this. There are, however, pictures of Daniel being carried around by the orca, which will most likely never surface. First posted on the Spooky Advertisements group on Facebook, a group whose purpose is to share spooky advertisements from around the world, one user recalled watching a Filipino ad about the biblical end times prophecy, which he claimed aired on IBC 13 during top 10 movie trailers of the week in the early 90s. The ad starts with the word rapture, with a date on the bottom of the screen, with a picture of Jesus Christ resurrecting in the background. What follows is a slideshow of disturbing pictures during the Holocaust. Eyewitnesses described the people in the pictures as bald, pale, and skinny, with some of them being dragged forcefully. The number 666 is seen, with a black font and an off-white background. And what follows are photos of people with the number 666 on their forehead. The PSA is set to end with a picture of Jesus Christ floating, resurrecting in Galilee. The PSA has ominous background music and a voiceover, with "This is a paid advertisement" shown on the bottom part of the ad. It is unknown what the purpose of the ad was, with many users on the group giving their own opinions as to why it aired. In 2017, an anonymous user claimed to be a mod developer for GTA San Andreas posted on 4chan's video game board, asking users for ideas for a new mod. Users began giving some crazy ideas and suggestions of things the user could add, with some even sending links to detailed descriptions they wrote in note blogs. A few weeks later, that same user posted their mod, based on the user's recommendations. The mod added missions to the game, replacing the game's main missions, as well as adding skins, textures, and audios. Most of these modifications were based on memes and other stuff used on 4chan. When users would use the MediaFire link to download the mod, they'd be greeted with a virus. The virus was jokingly placed by the creator, which turned out to be one easily deleted with any antivirus. A strange thing about this mod was the names of characters in some missions. While in the original game, generic characters didn't have a name, in the mod, the generic and single mission characters had a first and last name, which didn't make any sense. On the same day, an anonymous user posted a photo of his monitor, which showed a drive-by mission. On the screen was a prostitute with blonde hair. The user asked others if they noticed anything strange, and when they couldn't reply, the same user then commented, "I don't know if I'm crazy or something like that. This woman reminds me of my mother. Even made me shiver when I read her name." The other users believed it to be a joke. However, when they looked into it, the mission character's name matched the name of a missing middle-aged woman, Heather Lynn Higgins, who had been missing since 2010. When users began looking further into the names of other characters, they discovered that most of them bore the name of missing people. Due to the uproar caused by this, the admins deleted the main thread. The creator of the mod claimed that he had no idea that the names were that of missing people. Despite being downloaded by a group of people, the mod was lost. Any mentions of the mod anywhere on 4chan would quickly be deleted. Even when googling the mod, only a few results pop up, one of which is this Reddit post, asking about the origin of the mod. One user commented explaining the real story behind it. Golf Patch is a confirmed fake. The Colombian GTA San Andreas YouTubers, Trelencio911 and Jewel S made 2 videos about it. Shaky from the Spanish Lost Media wiki, who created the Lost Media iceberg featured on Blame It on Jorge's video, admitted on Discord that he and his Discord friends made up this Golf Patch hoax to fool the Latin America GTA San Andreas community. This caused quite some drama on Spanish-speaking YouTube, since Shaky apparently has a grudge against Spanish-speaking GTA San Andreas YouTubers, and did this out of spite to provoke them.